Another slide, please. So let's go back real quick to this flower of life. This is Leonardo da Vinci's sketchbook, who studied this particular shape of sacred geometry. The relationships, the angles, the connections. Next slide, please. This is a crop circle. As you know, the crop circles from England, and they're actually worldwide. They have symbology in them, and the flower of life shows up a lot. Within it is the mathematical Fibonacci sequence, the golden mean, the golden ratio. All of that is expressed here. Next slide, please. So I did a study, two-dimensional and then three-dimensional, of how to assemble this particular thing. It somehow connected with me. Next slide, please. When you connect all the centers inside a flower of life, you start seeing the geometry inside there. You start like almost seeing a cube and so forth. Next slide. Then I made a three-dimensional model of the flower of life, and I connected all the centers. Next slide. Then I started finding that within the inside is the proportions for a cube. Next one. The icosahedron, the two little pyramids. Next slide. The star tetrahedron, which are two pyramids intersecting. Remember, I went from the temple design to this in 3 dimensions with computers. Next one. Then there's a cube within a cube. Next one. So it just keeps going on. The permutations of geometry. All the Platonic solids are expressed in those lines. Isn't that crazy? Where's this information coming from? How did the ancients know this stuff? I want to know. Next slide. So I started as an engineer, and I also have a background in architecture and industrial design. Yeah, I went to college for a while. So I created something based on the hypercube, which is a cube within a cube. Next slide. And I also work with sound resonance, which is another lecture on its own. The sacred geometry, you could talk about that all day. That's working with sound waves, light waves, magnetic waves. One thing they don't teach us in physics is that sound and light and magnetics are the same thing. They're the same energy. And they have bandwidth and a spectrum. Magnetics have color. Magnetism. We're taught magnetism as a dualist, divided, polarized, positive, negative thing. But it is something else. Next slide, please. This is one of my organizations called Life Powers. We work with brainwave technology, and that's a logo that I designed using the technology. So here I study different wavelengths using different frequencies, and I create the animation. And how does that affect us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? So this is what's called solfeggio frequencies. You can find them on YouTube. And they're used for meditation, chanting, but it's also used in high tech. That technology I told you about in the B-2 bomber uses high frequency magnetics to distort reality. Next slide, please. One more. This is a running, working model built here in San Diego of a Searle effect generator. This is a magnetic drive built by John Searle back in the 40s in England that is a free energy device. It powers anything in its field. This device, if it's not grounded, sealed, it'll take off. It is an anti-gravity machine. This device is about this big that just takes off through the ceiling. That's how powerful these are, because it creates a quantum vacuum around itself. It cools, supercools, and it becomes a superconducting magnet. That's all the parts. It's not complicated. This is real. This is technology that has been suppressed. Next slide, please. These are studies of different magnetic fields. Our body generates a whole variety of magnetic fields. As we walk into a room, have you ever just gotten upset because somebody else in the room is upset and you affect them? There's science, and there are people who are qualified at all levels that study this. But nobody in school told me that our bodies was made out of energy and magnetic fields and that we affect each other's emotions. Next slide, please. So one of my designs is called a Resonator. This is a cube device that you step into. Next slide, please. The door opens and there's another chamber inside of it. This is the same proportion as the Great Pyramid in Egypt. There are chambers inside the pyramid that resonate at different frequencies. Next slide, please. This is, I built a prototype of this in San Diego in secret, and I spent my own money to do it. As you go inside, it's a virtual reality design, which means that all the walls have video inside. And the whole inside cube is resonated at different frequencies. And there's also light that hits your whole body in different spectrums. It is like taking a Game Boy, Xbox, Nintendo thing and blowing it up so you can step inside of it. This is a next generation platform that I want to build at a center that Mark is helping me to build here in San Diego. This machine connects with the energy that our body's made out of. It functions as accelerated learning. It transports you into different realities so you can learn about complex concepts in minutes. It teaches you how gravity works. It shows you how humanity is connected. How do animals talk to each other? That's what this technology. This is the same technology that's mentioned in the Bible, that's mentioned in the Quran and the Torah, but it's like all munged. You can't quite figure it out. Next slide, please. There's another technology I'm working on. It's called pyramidia, using the sacred geometry of proportions of a pyramid. When you approach this device and you touch it, it's a touchscreen kiosk. It just looks really fancy. But what it does is there's sound that goes into your body and it resonates in your skeletal and your muscular and then in your mind. And it's designed with quartz crystals on the inside. They're really big crystals. That is an advanced technology that we don't even understand yet how crystals work. This device, the pyramid, is designed to inspire communication. It's tuned to the blue chakra, your throat chakra. Communication. If you saw the resonator was green, that's tuned to the heart chakra. It is a device to get you in touch with this. Next slide, please. The Pyramida display works with the resonator if you put them next to each other, so you can go to a trade show or a conference or do some form of entertainment with it. This is a platform for other creators. Other people say, oh, I know what I want to do with this, right? And they're designed very low cost, off-the-shelf technology that you can get today. Next slide, please. This is another version of the resonator that, when you turn it on, it's made out of recycled PVC bottles. And inside, there is no waves coming from cell phones, radio, television. It is a neutral space that we can't even find those on Earth anymore. Has anybody here experienced nature with no electronics? It's so different. By the way, all of these devices are self-powered. There are no cables going in and out of them. How radical is that? So, next slide, please. I designed part of this exhibit for the Shanghai 2010 World's Fair. This technology was so crazy, they didn't even know what to make of my proposals. Next slide, please. That's what I like. This is a bracelet concept that I designed using the same technology, light, magnetics, resonance, and I'll pass one around. I don't have the other one, the activated one, but it has 16 gigs of storage in the bracelet. So you plug it in, or it runs USB or Bluetooth, and it has a GPS sensor built into it. Kids can put their software, games, pictures, and music on their bracelet, but obviously I want to use it for awakening, inspiration, creativity. This product costs $2 to make each, and it is a platform, a new platform for marketing, promotions, and education. I want to make these in San Diego. Next slide, please. This is a projection crystal that I designed for kids. You project your vision, like what do you want the world to be? This crystal is built on a quartz shell, but inside, it's this little micro pico projector, it's called. They're out there. It's 3M has their new little portable projector. You've seen those projectors for cell phones. It's the same engine. But I want kids to be able to interact with each other, record their memories and dreams, and be able to project them, share with their friends. And that crystal, next slide please, plugs into a cave that I'm designing called the Crystal Cave of Creation. It's a fantasy space made out of giant crystals that are bigger than us. And you take your little crystal, plug it in, and the crystals resonate at different frequencies. The idea is to inspire you to just think differently. Does that sound like fun? Anybody want to visit the Crystal Cave of Creation? Yeah. We want to build these things as traveling exhibits. I'm not going to say they're science, I'm not going to say they're art, they are what they are. They're as crazy as Stonehenge. It's ancient technology. Next slide, please. This is a chair that I designed using the golden mean ratios, Fibonacci sequencing the turns, but the chair resonates at different frequencies. So if you store some music on your iPhone, you sit on the Vossa chair, plug in your iPhone, you can download the experience. Next slide, please. So here's a different angle. The chair is full of flexible video screens, which is a new technology, and it's self-powered. It runs on its own free energy fuel cell. So this is, you can put the technology that can help balance your body. If you have a certain intention, like you have cancer, you want to heal it, if you have emotional issues and you want to approach them, all of this technology helps you get in